So, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends, this is my title today. I almost call this, there and back again. From cutting edge to clinical effectiveness and back again. The structure of my talk is going to be a little bit non-linear, but we're used to that in homeopathy. But I'm trying to weave together, the very diverse strands of endeavour that are going on. Sometimes I think too diverse. We need to focus a little bit, and that's what I'm going to try and emphasise. Okay, so first of all, this concept of vital reaction. It is fundamental to homeopathy. But it's very difficult to talk about because most of the language is 150 years out of date. And yet there are a lot of ideas around which are highly germane to this concept. In fact, it is extensively, experimentally verified. So basically, what we're talking about is that a vital reaction means, when you stimulate an organism and it bounces back. And the idea, of course, is that high dilutions trigger a reaction without the primary action. There is, in fact, extensive experimental verification of these concepts. Hormesis is the word that is mostly used. Homologosis is a slightly old-fashioned term, but it is used for, basically means hormesis in the area of pharmacology, which I think is more or less synonymous with paradoxical pharmacology, rebound effects.
Just to put it in baby language, which I have to do to understand things, it's to provide evidence on efficiency or value for money by comparing the cost of different interventions or services with the benefits or outcomes of each. Again, what was interesting is we had, in the end, 9 users that we were looking at, and about 23 controls. What we soon realized is that all the controls were using homeopathy as well, or complementary therapies. But not all of them had felt able to access that via their general practice. So we'll talk more about just how interesting this study was, partly because of mixed methods, which again I would so encourage you to do, because you want your summary measures, your population statistics, but you also want your qualitative lens to go in and find out the reality of an individual experience.
This is the pattern of heat shock proteins generated by different treatments with heat, arsenic or lead, by the experiments of Fred Wiegand and Van Wyk. You see here, this is the basis upon which the similarity of the treatment Peter just has mentioned before has been estimated. So the working group of Fred Wiegand and Van Wyk is more or less the only one I know that carried on serious research on the principle of similars in the field of basic research. And they worked for more than 20 years in this field until they get this really congenious idea to carry out drug provings on a cellular level. And that's actually what you see here. They tried to depict the effects of various substances on cells in order to make a basis for a rational selection of a homeopathic remedy. So in fact, you see you have different patterns of proteins formed after an application of heat or arsenic or lead. And this is in fact the basis for this correlation Peter just showed before.